An enormous thresher shark winds up on the beach in Southern California. Dorado just offshore now as that warm water push continues to move up the Baja Peninsula and move into Southern California. Albacore up north. Will they show this year? And the kelp patty action absolutely torrid with a grunion run starting tonight. So much on the morning briefing. It is great to be back with you all again. Hey, it really is great. I've got to take a moment. There was a couple of people, several people who came by the Orange County Fair. I'm a bartender at Baja Blues, and they went way out of their way to say hello to me. Sometimes I'm going a little crazy in there. That fair is nuts, and I just want to extend my gratitude and appreciation anytime anybody stops me and says, hey, I watch your stuff. I love your stuff, and there was several of you, and I'm talking to you right now. I just want to say thank you. And to all the other thousands of you who are tuning in to the morning briefing every morning, as well as all the other content we offer up here on Friedman Adventures, I can't thank you enough. I deeply appreciate it. Got a correction for you. We erroneously reported that marlin that was taken down there on the Pongueros, by the Pongueros, was caught by Arnie down there. Arnie was telling me it was Mara's Sportfishing who had that beautiful marlin. So congratulations to the guys at Mara's Sportfishing in Ensenada. All right, well, I guess that's a good segue. Let's get into it. And by the way, you might see those white turnbirds picking behind me. There's a lot of activity here in the surf. When I see those birds, I know that there are surf fish around because they're on bait that's getting shoved into the beach by those birds. Or conversely, they are on some grunion that are staging up for tonight's run. There is a grunion run tonight. We'll go for 4 nights. It's a great time to bring the kids down and show them this miracle of nature. It truly is magnificent. All right, back to Ensenada. Sorry about that. Down there in Ensenada, those Pongueros are really doing well. They're still trolling the Mad Max around and coming up with some great catches of bluefin tuna. It's not every day, and there are some misses, but for the most part, it's very good. And now they can fall back on, like Mara sport fishing. Marlin. Well, not that there's a lot of marlin, but there's some marlin being seen down there. But mostly the kelp patty stuff. And I'm talking Dorado, Yellowtail. It's really, really good right now. The grade of yellows on the kelps has been superior. It's really good fishing down there right now, as you might suspect that it would be in summertime. So Ensenada still going great guns. We'll talk about the coast and the islands when we get back to that in just a second. I do want to mention to you, while we're on the offshore kind of theme right now, long-range boats are fishing different areas, and they've been putting the hurt on some nice big bluefin. They're shopping around trying to get their clients some big bluefin tuna, and they are fishing some other zones and coming up with some outstanding catches. Other guys, on multi-day trips are focusing in on the kelps, and there's some bluefin mixed in with that also. The albacore situation, man, I'll tell you, we've got West Coast albacore. We've got fish just outside of San Francisco. Many years, they will just submarine into SoCal. We have not given up on those fish. I know it's almost August, and every day after the 4th of July, it kind of goes like this, starts to go downward and going to explode with another bad prediction on our part. But pretty much everything that we thought would happen is happening up to the north of us, but much closer this year than it has been in a long, long time. And we'll continue to watch it, see if somebody can't jig across an albacore. Some of those long-range boys that are catching bluefin out on the banks and other areas are kind of close to that zone where there's some really nice-looking albacore water, and they know what they're doing. Those guys are excellent fishermen. One of those guys might limit out and then go out there and drag some jigs around, get a jig strike on some albi. We'll see how that plays off. Let's get to the kelps now, because literally we have 1,000 miles of Dorado right now, maybe more than that. I mean, it could go down to Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama. It could go all the way down. It's magnificent. Are they biting that well? No, they are not, at least in northern Baja and southern California. Some guys get some really good hits on it, but overall, you're just looking at this stuff. It's like a freaking aquarium right now where you see all of these great fish, and they just don't want to chew that well. But they're biting better and better and better, and they're setting up for what looks like it could be a magnificent fall. And when I say 1,000 miles of Dorado, some of you are thinking, uh-oh, this guy's nuts. What's he talking about? I'm serious. I mean, Sean Morgan's coming up on a yacht. He's going to be pulling into Ensenada later today, I believe, sending me some outstanding video. But he had Dorado and all kinds of other species all the way up the coast. We know that they're out of Ensenada. We know they're down below that. And remember, Mauricio Lopez was on the show. The guy who runs the Clemente out of Dana Wharf Sportfishing. He bumped into a patty. And let me just take you to the Helena before I go back down to San Diego. The Helena out of Dana Wharf Sportfishing yesterday went out and saw exactly what Mauricio described. If you didn't catch our live show, Mauricio described acres of puddling Dorado that just didn't want to bite, but he did get 4 fish. So the Helena yesterday ran into a similar circumstance, and that just bodes well for the fall here in this area. And I'm talking about San Pedro, Long Beach, down below. That fish should all move up. We'll probably be catching Dorado in the Channel Islands this year, as crazy as things have been. He went out there and they see all this fish and it's frustrating. They can't get it to bite. So what do? They drop down in their mono. They drop down fishing fluorocarbon, 10, 12 pound mono. And here come the hookups, man. They hook over 20 fish on the Helena. They got 5. Reason they were breaking them off, but instead of looking at them, at least they got to play around, see the fish jump. They're acrobatic, colorful fish. A lot of fun to catch. What is also known as a mahi-mahi. Those flatheads are in mass right now, and it's looking very, very good. So the Helena got a piece of it, and it's only going to get better as the water warms. We move into the fall months when the weather is at its best. It should be really outstanding. To San Diego, the boys down there are having outstanding fishing on the kelps. Still got to work hard, still got to find that right kelp, but when you do, it is game on. And it certainly was for the San Diego yesterday on their 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. trip. 175 yellowtail. Does it get any better than that? I don't think so, along with 17 Dorado. A good hot bait, although it really didn't matter in some of those cases. I mean, you can take a bait, throw it on the deck, stomp on it, put it on and toss it out there and get a bite. It's that good down there when you get 175 yellowtail. But in most cases, and always just to form the habit, choose a good hot bait, 25 to 40 pound fluorocarbon. We like www.optionusa.com. Put in FA at checkout, and you'll get a handwritten note from Greg Brown. His little fingers are starting to fall off. He's written so many notes, and also a free gift. So Option's great choice for you. It works well, 25 to 40. I still will admonish you all to bring the heavy tackle. If you've got it, bring it along with you, because the probability of bumping into some bigger bluefin tuna still exists. And it not only exists down there in the pristine waters of northern Baja, but all through Southern California. We've got bluefin up in the Channel Islands at Catalina, Santa Barbara, at San Nicolas, Clemente, the Banks. We've got bluefin everywhere, and some of it is big and it's tough, and you need a Daiwa 2-speed to handle it with 100-pound. It will make the difference for you. So, as I say, 25 to 40 should get you through on most trips, but you do want to bring the heavy if you have it. It will make a big difference. Tribute limits of yellowtail Dorado along with it. Pacifica 135, yellowtail 3 Dorado, Ranger 85. My friend Scott Buchert on deck with limits of yellowtail and some Dorado and all the other species. Really, really looking good. And don't let me, please, don't let me jump over the yellowfin tuna, because they are also in mass moving up the Baja Peninsula. And some of the long-range boats that were once down there hammering on that, you know, over 150 miles down, that fish was biting fish, and that's moving it. We have been seeing it for a while now, and at some point it's going to settle and bite. And in most cases, when it finally kicks into gear, it doesn't act like bluefin tuna. I mean, it's not as finicky. Okay, so it should get on the bite, and that 25 to 40 should work really, really well. Poppers are another great way to take yellowfin tuna. I'm telling you, when you see a yellowfin explode on your popper, man, your heart will jump out of your chest. It is really super exciting. And fishing poppers, you want to go with spinning reels. And once again, I got to tell you, Daiwa makes some spinning reels where you can get 40 pounds of drag, which means you're going to get pulled overboard with that kind of drag. So they've got tough, great reels that you can fish offshore with here and get the job done. So I am loving what I'm seeing on the kelps, and it's extending up here right off of Dana Wharf Sportfishing as they make news again with the Helena and Captain Mauricio with that great live podcast. He sat there for 2.5 hours with yours truly. I highly recommend you check this great young man out. And I want to say hello to Mauricio's dad out there. He watches every single morning. Mil gracias, senor, mil gracias. All right, let's move along and start to look at the islands. I'll take you back down to Ensenada, Todos Santos Island there. Continued good barracuda fishing, big calico bass at times on Lucky Crab lures. If you can get a good tank of bait, and that's an issue in Ensenada because a lot of that bait operation now goes to feed the tuna and the tuna pins. You can do pretty well fishing around those tuna pins. Also, there's been some nice yellowtail taken. Remember, all that bait that goes in there, some of it gets out and escapes through the nets, and what you end up with is a big chum system. So fishing around those pens, there's been some yellowtail, some big bonita, some pretty darn good fishing in that neck of the woods. Moving up to the Coronado Islands, conditions have cleaned up there. There's some good yellowtail fishing. There's not a lot of guys fishing that, but there has been a significant amount of people doing it, and they have been doing quite well indeed. By the way, Martin Padilla is a guy who goes fishing with us all the time. He's on all our charters. He's a great guy. He's a hardcore fisherman. He got into the sport just a few years ago, and I get the feeling when he goes into something, he goes all in. Yesterday, he had a spectacular offshore day. He got his boat from the Freedom Boat Club, went out and slammed bluefin and big Dorado. He had a great trip. He was solo. He had a guy that was going to go with him and said, "Oh, I think I'll sleep in today." And man, is that guy kicking himself right now. So Martin, thank you very much. Great job. So happy that you got him. All right, back to the islands. I'm jumping all over the place. A little bit crazy this morning, aren't I? Back to the islands as we take a look at San Clemente Island. Kind of hit and miss out there, you know, a few yellows, fighting the sea lions, some decent bottom fishing. Every once in a while, better calico bass fishing. The bass bite is pretty good. It's just a matter of whether you want to focus in on it or not. And if you do, you're going to have some good bass fishing. Catalina Island, kind of hit and miss also. I mean, there's been bonita and barracuda and bass. Nothing wide open, pristine, gorgeous days over there. And, you know, I mean, even on the native sun yesterday, they lost these fish, but the fact that they even hooked them is pretty remarkable. They hooked a bluefin, a sea bass, yellowtail. They lost them all. But anytime you can have an opportunity to do that, that's pretty good. So Catalina for the Enterprise and Freelance, all those guys. The Sport King with my friend Bruce Root. Haven't seen Bruce for a long time. Hope he's doing well. All those guys are having okay fishing at Catalina Island. Nothing to write home about, but pretty darn good. The Pride out of 22nd Street Landing, we still have two-day trips with him in the fall. That's going to be good fun. If you want to join us, send me a text at 657-2276-459, and I'll send you our charter list, or go to our Facebook page, Friedman Adventures. You can see the rest of our charters. If you book by the middle of August, you'll get a discount. So think about that. Santa Barbara, San Nicolas Island, the weather out there is good. We're going to have a couple blow-ups, but not much. It's going to get a little breezy, but not much to stop Sean Roberts. That guy will run in a hurricane and catch fish in it also. They're catching sea bass out there, and the numbers have come down a little bit. I mean, they're not getting 100 white sea bass, but in most cases they're doing really, really well. Sea bass and yellowtail, halibut, still catching all that stuff as we are on the precipice of August, which is pretty darn crazy. Channel Islands, there's some guys up there with some good hits, really, really good hits on the white sea bass. And then other guys, not so much. It's definitely starting to back off. I mean, we have seen some really crazy stuff going on up there all year long. Probably, I mean, by all accounts, it has been some of the best fishing up there in the Channel Islands, and that's no exception. It's been doing that for quite some time, so I'm loving what we are seeing. All right, let me take you to the coastal regions in general down there out of San Diego. The Premier has had a lock on that sand bass, not limits now because they're getting more people, but still good sand bass fishing, and fishing the fluorocarbon, dropper loop, lead heads. Some of those plastic lures are working really well, really well. I think they had 60 or so sand bass yesterday. Nice hit for them. Moving you up the coast, we look at Dana, and they're catching lots of short calico bass, some legals, few halibut, good action. And then right offshore, man, we got those Dorado up here in the LA Orange County area. The boats are picking at the bass. Some are doing pretty darn well, sculpin to go along with it. Don't see much barracuda. Hopefully that's going to get going. Another guy, Chef Jason, who does all our cooking videos from Schulb's in Long Beach. Love this guy for many reasons. His enthusiasm for fishing is unsurpassed by many anglers. I mean, he is really into it. He's a great chef. I love going to Schulb's in Long Beach. And also, he's got a heart of gold, making copious amounts of soup for our friend Captain Eddie Leland, who's in a battle with cancer right now. He delivered it to 22nd Street Landing, and then I was able to get it to Eddie. But Chef Jay said, nice going yesterday with some really nice sand bass as he was out doing his thing and having a really great time. We move you up, and in Redondo and Marina del Rey, they're picking away at the bass and good rock fishing up there. Some days they do better on the bass. You fished a lighter line, like 12, 15-pound fluoro, and you got a really good chance to come home with some nice bass in addition to everything else. Channel Islands, there has been occasional hits, big hits up there, especially for the Island Spirit on the barracuda. Those things are a little invasive right now, but they'll be back maybe right now. They're biting the surface iron and also good rockfish and that kind of thing. Coral Sea and Stardust up there out of Santa Barbara providing excellent rock fishing for their anglers in that neck of the woods. On the surf yesterday, I was walking out to my car here in Surfside when Eric, the guy who's the guard, goes, "Hey, did you hear about the shark?" And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "Did you hear about the shark?" And then I said, "No, what?" So apparently, right down the street here, a big old thresher shark. He said a 13-footer, so I'm guessing it was probably 8 feet, something like that. You know how people get crazy when a shark comes up on the beach. A thresher shark on the beach. I don't know what happened with it. I didn't have enough time to get down there. It was gone by all accounts. It was gone, or I would have gone down there and shot some video for you all. But pretty interesting, pretty fun. And there's a lot of thresher sharks here with all the bait you have. It's been some really good thresher shark fishing for the guys who focus in on that. In the surf, good Corvina fishing going on, fishing the light line. Sam De La Torre and all the guys from Island Fishing Tackle. Good morning, guys. I miss you guys. After the fair, I'll be back to pester you on a regular basis. They're going to come down around here on Sunday and surf fish, and they're going to find some good Corvina action with the light line and natural baits working best of all. You want to fish that ghost shrimp or the sandworms, something like that. You can dig the sandworms up here in the beach. Sometimes by hand, better with a shovel. You can get down deeper and find those creepy little sandworms. They were everywhere the other day when I was digging for them. And then also some pretty good yellowfin croaker fishing. A few spot fin. It's late for that, but we still see it. Everything seems to be late this year. And as we move you up, up there in the Santa Monica Bay, good Corvina, few halibut. Grunion run tonight starts. That should draw even more fish into the beach. So you should do really, really well if you're throwing a lucky craft. Match the hatch. A lot of grunion in here. Throwing a lucky craft is going to mimic what we have going on the Southern California coast. All right, everybody. Our charters are really starting to fill up. If you'd like to join us, please send that text to me, 657-227-6459, and I'll shoot you out the list, and you can join us for one of our few remaining charters. Our next one, August the 19th, on the Malihini, redemption time on the Malihini, as we'll go out and hopefully find a kelp loaded with fish, and that is going to be a lot of fun. All right, everybody, albacore, thresher sharks on the beach, great kelp patty action, Dorado right offshore. Things are looking really, really good. And once again, we just reached 700,000 views. Man, we are going to get to 1 million by the end of the year, God willing. And not only God willing, but all thanks to you and your constant support for Friedman Adventures. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. Have a great day. It's always a pleasure to start my day with you, and I'll see you again really, really soon.